Yubasaya Ji Ilumun Adila Nida. I'm going to explain about South Korean background. The Korean Peninsula is situated in Northeast Asia between China and Japan. Korea, one country for more than 1,000 years, has been divided between North and South since 1945. South Korea, officially the Republic of Korea, is a country in East Asia constituting the southern part of the Korean Peninsula and sharing a land border with North Korea. Its western border is formed by the Yellow Sea, while its eastern border is defined by the Sea of Japan. About 25 million people, around half of the country population of 51 million, live in the Seoul, capital area. South Korea is a presidential representative democratic republic specified by the constitution. Head of state is the president, which also the chairman of the cabinet, the chief executive of the government, and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. If the National Assembly vote against a presidential decision, it will be declared void immediately. Head of government is the Prime Minister. Over the last several decades, South Korea has transformed herself from an agrarian society to an industrial leader on the world economic scene. Progress is being made in education, science, and technology, also social welfare. In 2002, South Korea has co-hosted the FIFA World Cup tournament. That's all from me. Next, we are going to explore more about Korean with your tourist guide.
Thank you, Adila, for the interesting presentation just now. Before I start explaining my part, let me introduce myself first. My name is AFINA SYAKIRAH binti SULAIMAN and my metric number is 01 DPM 20F1015. So now, we're going to move to the language. Each country has its own mother language. With language differences, it can show the uniqueness of the country. South Korea is also not far behind, where Korean has become the national language of the country. In addition, Korean is a language spoken by the inhabitants of Korean Peninsula in Northeast Asia, where the language is shared between North and South Korea, which are part of Altai language family. The language is also similar to Japanese in terms of grammar and sentence structure. The ancient South Korean language is divided into 5 dialects, namely Gyeonggi, Gyeongsang, Chungcheong, Jeollado, and Jeju. As additional info, the Seoul dialect, also known as Gyeonggi, is used in speech and news reports. This language has been considered one of the best and most organized language in history. While for the writing system, South Korea uses Hangul alphabet, which was invented by King Sejong in 1443 after the use of Hanja. Next, we will move to the religion in South Korea. South Korea is a country that supports religious freedom, where all citizens are free to profess any religion. According to the study, a slight majority of South Koreans have no religion. Confucianism, Buddhism, and Christianity are the main formal religions in the country. Buddhism and Confucianism have been more influential than others in Korean life, and more than half of the country's listed cultural heritage is related to both religions. Christianity influenced South Korea in the 18th and 19th centuries. For your information, the religion of the Koreans was originally shamanism, where it is a belief in ancestral spirits and observing rituals. The female shaman or mudang is often called an intermediary to ask for help from various spirits to achieve it in various ways. This religion has been practiced from ancient times to the present. This is because there are a handful of Koreans who believe that shamans can predict their future or can comfort the spirits of the dead.
Hi, my name is AIMAN and thank you for the previous presenter. In this slide, I'm going to present about the Korean culture of manners and customs in business. The first one will be the age and status. For Korean, age and status is so important as they will assign to call strangers according to their age. For example, if someone is older than them, they will call for male as oppa or for female as anni. The second one is business cards. Koreans love to exchange business cards as it is a sign of exchanging business between each individual. The third one about giving gifts. For Korean culture, to give gifts towards people, they must give gifts according to a certain rules, which is, for example, wrapping the gifts with honor color or happy color such as yellow or red. The fourth one is about Korean names. In Korean, they will put their surnames as in front and then their own names in the back. For example, Kim Jisoo. Jisoo is the name of that person and Kim is the name of the family. Next, we have the bow and handshake culture in Korea. For Korean, they must bow to their elders and seniors to show respect to them. And then we have the building relationship. In informal gathering such as social gathering, they will meet to exchange business. And then we have go into the dress code. In Korean, dress code is so important as they will dress formally into every single situation. And the last one about the gender equality. For Korea, especially Korean, men are being appointed more compared to female in certain part of business.
Thanks to AIMAN for presenting. Hi, I'm YASHVINY and I will be presenting about South Korea's food, art and symbol. Korean cuisine is largely based on rice, vegetables, seafood and meats. One of the oldest and probably the most essential dishes in Korean cuisine is kimchi. Kimchi is a spicy and sour dish made up of fermented vegetables. It is prepared with the most common main ingredient, which is cabbage. Kimchi is popular among foreigners for its unique flavor as well as its high nutritional value, fiber content, and low calorie content. Next, bibimbap is essentially a bowl of mixed ingredients including rice, seasoned vegetable, beef, soy sauce, chili pepper paste, and a fried egg. The ingredients found in bibimbap vary by region and the most famous version of the dish. Next, often served as a side dish during lunch or dinner. Japchae is a traditional Korean noodle dish made up of stir-fried sweet potato, thinly shredded vegetables, beef, and a hint of soy sauce and sugar. Japchae is known for its sweet and flavorful taste and its soft yet slightly chewy texture. Last but not least, tteokbokki is a common spicy Korean food made of cylindrical rice cakes, triangular fish cake, vegetable, and sweet red chili sauce. It is often sold by street vendors. Nextly, let's look at some examples of arts in South Korea. Dancheong is the symbolism behind all of the South Korea's beautifully painted temples. Dancheong, which literally means red and green, refers to the beautiful five-colored design found on the walls, pillars, and eaves of traditional Korean wooden buildings. The vibrant, bright colors were also believed to protect a building from evil spirits and emphasize the authority of its resident. Nextly, Jinju Gomu is a sword dance performed by women and handed down in Jinju. It was one of the dances performed during a party held at the royal palace. Jinju Gomu is played by a group of 8 dancers in warriors' uniform to the rhythms of Korean folk song. Next, known as the national instrument of Korea, the kayagum is played in many vocal and instrumental genres, often accompanied by the chango drum. There are 3 variant types of kayagum, all associated with particular types of music. Lastly, pungmul is a traditional Korean music and dance genre performed by farmers. Pungmul was the center of entertainment for farmers. It was a way to relax after a hard day of labor, performed at village festivals and performed at agricultural rituals. Next, the symbols of South Korea. Hibiscus syriacus, also known as the Korean rose, is the national flower of South Korea. The flower appears as a national emblem. The flower's name in Korean is mokunhwa. The flower's symbolic significance stem from the Korean word mugung, which means eternity or inexhaustible abundance. Nextly, Taekwondo, which is the national sport of South Korea. Taekwondo is a Korean form of martial arts characterized by punching and kicking techniques. Taekwondo practitioners wear a uniform known as a dobok. It is a combat sport and was developed during the 1940s and 1950s by Korean martial artists with experience in martial arts such as karate, Chinese martial arts, and indigenous Korean martial arts traditions such as taekwondo, subak, and gyeonbok. Next, the traditional clothes of South Korea. The hanbok is the traditional Korean clothes. The term hanbok literally means Korean clothing. Korean wears the hanbok for formal or semi-formal occasions and events such as festivals, celebrations, and ceremonies. Lastly, South Korea's national animal is the Siberian tiger, the biggest in the cat family, and it is an important emblem of their culture. The tiger is closely associated with Korean culture. It appears in Korean folklore and mythology and has been a common topic in Korean painting and sculpture historically. Thank you.
So now let's move to holidays and celebrations. Firstly, holidays. Solar or Lunar New Year's Day will be celebrated for 3 days on 12th of February. Independence Movement Day will be on 1st March while Children's Day on 5th of May. Buddha's birthday will be on 8th of the day 4th lunar month, which is 8th May, and Memorial Day will be on 6th of June. This Memorial Day is a special day to commemorate the kindness of their country's fighters in the war, which is often held at the National Cemetery. Next is the Constitution Day that will be on 17th of July, coinciding with the day of South Korea Constitution, which was declared in 1948. 15th of August to commemorate the victory over Japan Day at the end of World War II, and Chuseok is also known as Korean Thanksgiving Day that will be on 10th of September. Chuseok is also known as Mid-Autumn Festival and Moon Festival or Moon Cake Festival, which will be holiday for 3 days. Next is the National Foundation Day that will be on 3rd of October, means the day on which the heaven opens, and it also known as Korea's birthday, while Hangul Proclamation Day is to commemorate the creation of Korean alphabet in 1443, which falls on 9th of October. Christmas Day will be as usual on 25th of December. Okay, next let's move to the celebrations in South Korea. Korean parents mark the 100th day anniversary and the first birthday of their baby with special big celebrations in which their family, relatives, and friends will be participated. They also hold a large celebratory banquet for their baby with a ritual prayer for the baby's health, success in life, and longevity, and the participants give the baby gold rings as a special gift. Weddings have also been a very important family celebration in South Korea. It was not until the 20th century when most of the Korean they start doing their own marriage without any ceremony. Which means after 20th century only they start doing wedding ceremony. Those days wedding ceremony in South Korea they do like a village festival, but now Western style of a wedding ceremony is widely regarded as a norm.